Tourism tax versus council rate rises. Airbnb battles local councils. In a clash with local councils, Airbnb has criticized their independent policies on Airbnb properties, arguing that such measures would further burden residents with rising living costs. Instead, the company suggests implementing state-based tourism levies to benefit local communities. But before we get into it, don't forget to like and share this video with your friends. Be sure to subscribe to our channel to get notified of the next video from us. Shall we start? Double rates and lifted surcharges. Councils take matters into their own hands. Councilors in Hobart recently voted to double rates for properties used for short-stay rentals, while Brisbane Council lifted an existing surcharge on such rentals. These moves aim to increase the availability of long-term rentals during a period of record-low vacancies in the housing market. Airbnb shifts focus to state governments. Airbnb strives to shift the evolving debate over short-stay rentals from a local housing issue to a discussion about revenue for state governments. The company advocates for implementing statewide frameworks, which would provide consistency and prevent multiple councils from adopting different policies on the same matters. Airbnb's head of public policy for Australia and New Zealand, Michael Crosby, proposes the introduction of statewide visitor levies paid by guests instead of tax increases that strain everyday Australians to make ends meet. Airbnb's tourism taxes, contributions to local communities. Highlighting its financial contributions, Airbnb cites the $2.8 billion it paid last year in tourism taxes to all 50 U.S. state governments, the District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico. In Canada, the company paid $177 million in tourism taxes last year, which aided local authorities in funding infrastructure and public works. Councils act locally, asserting their authority. The decisions made by Hobart and Brisbane councils demonstrate a growing inclination for councils to take action within their jurisdictions. A source from one municipality suggests that councils are well equipped to impose regulations on short-stay landlords as they can better respond to local conditions, in contrast to a blanket, statewide policy. Historical tensions between councils and state governments. Historically, there has been tension between local councils and state governments regarding short-stay rentals. In 2021, New South Wales took over sector regulation, centralizing power and stripping it from councils like the City of Sydney. The move addressed concerns raised by Sydney Lord Mayor Clover Moore, who called for tighter state regulation to prevent the complete conversion of homes into Airbnb properties and advocate for reducing the current 180 night limit to 90 nights. Other cities and their approaches. Melbourne does not currently impose charges on short-stay operators, but acknowledges community concerns about housing availability and affordability. The city states its commitment to considering new initiatives and policies to meet the needs of its growing population. In Perth, short-stay accommodations are charged at the same rates as hotels, with no plans for rate changes in the near future. Impact of tourism taxes on Airbnb business. The impact of tourism taxes on the Airbnb business has been a topic of significant interest and debate. These taxes, levied by governments or local authorities on short-term accommodations, including Airbnb rentals, aim to generate revenue for tourism-related initiatives and local development. The introduction of tourism taxes has influenced the financial landscape for Airbnb hosts and guests alike. For hosts, the implementation of tourism taxes has meant additional financial obligations. These taxes are often passed on to guests, increasing stay prices. Hosts must navigate the challenge of setting competitive rates while factoring in these additional charges. From the guest's perspective, tourism taxes can affect the overall cost of their stay, potentially altering their accommodation choices. With the introduction of such taxes, guests may need to reevaluate their budgets or seek alternative options. The impact of tourism taxes on Airbnb's business has been multifaceted. While these taxes contribute to local economies and support tourism infrastructure, they can also influence the affordability and competitiveness of Airbnb accommodations. Striking a balance between generating revenue and maintaining the attractiveness of Airbnb as a cost-effective option for travelers remains a challenge for both Airbnb and local authorities. Airbnb's advocacy for consistent statewide tourism tax policies. Airbnb has been actively advocating for the implementation of consistent statewide tourism tax policies. The company believes that having uniform policies across the state, rather than varying approaches by individual local councils, would provide clarity and certainty for hosts, guests, and industry. By supporting statewide tourism tax policies, Airbnb aims to streamline the regulatory landscape for short-term rentals. This approach helps prevent a patchwork of different tax rates and requirements that hosts must navigate, simplifying compliance for hosts and guests. Moreover, Airbnb argues that statewide tourism taxes can contribute to local communities by generating revenue that can be used to fund infrastructure development, public works, and tourism-related initiatives. The company highlights its own contributions to tourism taxes in various regions, emphasizing its commitment to supporting local economies. Airbnb's contributions to local communities through tourism taxes. Airbnb prides itself on its contributions to local communities by paying tourism taxes. These taxes, collected from guests when they book accommodations, are intended to support local infrastructure, public services, and tourism-related initiatives. The latest data indicates that Airbnb has made substantial financial contributions through tourism taxes. In 2021, the company reported paying approximately $2.8 billion in tourism taxes to all 50 U.S. state governments, including the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico. Local authorities have utilized these funds to invest in crucial projects, such as improving transportation, maintaining public spaces, and enhancing tourism experiences. Beyond the United States, Airbnb has contributed significantly to tourism taxes in other countries. In Canada, for example, the company reported paying $177 million in tourism taxes last year, which has assisted local authorities in funding infrastructure development and public works. Comparison of tourism taxes in different countries for Airbnb. Tourism taxes imposed on Airbnb vary across different countries, reflecting the diverse approaches taken by governments to regulate and generate revenue from the short-term rental sector. It's important to note that specific tax rates and structures can change over time and are subject to the jurisdiction's policies. Here's a general overview. In the United States, Airbnb collects and remits taxes on behalf of hosts in many states and cities, with rates varying from around 5% to 15% of the booking cost, depending on the location. Some jurisdictions also levy additional fees or occupancy taxes. In European countries like France and Italy, cities like Paris and Rome have introduced specific taxes on tourist accommodations, including Airbnb rentals. These taxes can range from a few euros per night to a percentage of the booking cost. In Australia, several states and territories have implemented taxes on short-term accommodations. For example, in New South Wales, a 1.5% levy is applied to bookings made through online platforms like Airbnb. Some provinces and cities in Canada have implemented tourism taxes on accommodations, including those booked through Airbnb. Rates and structures vary by location, with percentages ranging from 3 to 4% or more. Public perception and support for Airbnb's payment of tourism taxes. Public perception and support for Airbnb's payment of tourism taxes have been subject to varying opinions. While there is no single consensus, here is a general overview of different perspectives. Supportive view. Many people appreciate Airbnb's commitment to paying tourism taxes. They see it as a responsible action that ensures Airbnb contributes to local economies and helps fund public services and infrastructure. These individuals believe that Airbnb, as a major player in the short-term rental industry, should bear its fair share of the tax burden. Critics' view. Some critics argue that Airbnb's payment of tourism taxes does not go far enough to address the broader impacts of short-term rentals on local housing availability and affordability. They contend that taxation alone is insufficient and advocate for stricter regulations to mitigate potential negative effects on local communities. Government perspective. Governments generally welcome Airbnb's cooperation in collecting and remitting tourism taxes. They view it as a step towards creating a level playing field between traditional accommodations and home-sharing platforms. The revenue generated from Airbnb's tax payments can support local tourism initiatives and address associated challenges. Surging income for landlords, concerns about rental supply. An analysis conducted by the Australian Financial Review in April revealed a significant increase in income for landlords using short-term rental platforms like Airbnb and Stays. Popular holiday destinations, including Brisbane, Byron Bay, the Blue Mountains near Sydney, and Victoria's Mornington Peninsula, experienced substantial growth in property income over the past year. This surge has raised concerns about housing availability and affordability in these areas. By presenting an engaging overview of the issue, this news piece aims to inform and entertain viewers, capturing their attention while providing key information about Airbnb's clash with local councils and the proposed alternative of state-based tourism levies. What will you truly remember from this information we have for you? Comment down below and share it with us. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. See you next time.